Good evening, everybody. Craig Greenwood here again with another video on the views and the world we find ourselves in. It's been a while, sorry. It's been actually quite busy here, so a lot to talk about today. We've been obviously down to level 1 now, lockdown for a couple of days. We've had a couple of weekends open now from level 3, which has been great. And obviously, everything's been going on. A lot of stuff going on around the world as well with the riots in America, all that kind of stuff. So, all right, a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. If you want to subscribe, all that kind of stuff, most free to do so. Really appreciate it. Also appreciate the comments. I'll try and reply to those comments as often as I can. I forget to look there sometimes, so I'm sorry if I haven't replied to some of your comments, but we'll try and do that. Been talking to a lot of people on the street too, and it's a good way of getting kind of a feeling out there what's going on. So first of all, talk about the coming out of lockdown from level 2 to level 1, and we've done that. We've had a few weekends now that have been open as well. Here we do go-kart racing, for those of you who don't know, and also car racing. And for the go-karts, the last 2 weekends, Queen's birthday weekend and the weekend just gone, was absolutely hammered. So we did really, really well. So actually way better than I thought. I thought that after lockdown there would be people that are a bit timid to come out and spend money. And obviously there is some of that, but the ones that did come out, man, they went out there and just hammered it. So awesome. So hopefully most of the businesses out there that rely on that kind of stuff, rely on customers coming in, did very, very well. So that's awesome. Hopefully it continues. I don't think it will at that rate, but you never know. So who knows? But I'm hoping it will. So that was interesting. Asked a lot of people. We actually had a busier weekend last weekend than Queen's birthday weekend. So we asked a lot of people why that was, and a lot of people decided not to come out on Queen's birthday weekend because everybody was going to, and they'd wait for a weekend later. So that was interesting. So that's cool. So I say hopefully that keeps on going, and we'll see how it goes. Obviously our wage subsidy finishes for most people either this week, next week, or depending on when your employer took it out in a week or so. And then of course we have to, if you want to get the extension wage subsidy, you've got to prove that you're 40% down only in a 30-day period over the next 2 or 3 months. So there'll be a lot of businesses looking to do that, I think, and trying to work out a way that where they can get their numbers correctly so they can apply for that, which would be great because we all need it. It's we've had 2-3 months of nothing. We need to get helped out there, so that's cool. Also want to talk about this time is the redistribution of wealth and what I believe is coming, and how you can look at your own life and look at your own experience and your own situation to find out how well you are situated for a big economic downturn. Now I know there's lots of people out there in mainstream media saying that everything's fine and house prices are great, and but as I said, it's not going to last. It's only a short term, and when you have all these unemployment numbers coming out and all these big firms basically closing down and going bankrupt. Hertz in America has gone bust, and there's stores all over the place going bust, and Warehouse closing down shops, and Benchmark closing down stores around the country, and all this stuff is just going to snowball because that's just the way things are. And again, it's because most of these companies have been operating on a situation where they've been heavily in debt. And the only way that you can run a company when you're heavily in debt is to have good cash flow, because you have to pay those monthly payments every month. And when you're like Hertz in America, who had a huge amount, I think they just virtually had every single car in their fleet was on HP. And of course, as soon as they're not making any income, they can't afford to make the payments. So it was really a bit of a false, economy, if you like. They're far too indebted. And even our own airline, Air New Zealand, is supposed to be a great airline and done really well last year, and as soon as they stop working, they're broke. So obviously people don't put away enough money as they probably did 20 or 30 years ago for those hard times, and they expect governments to come and bail them out. Of course, that's what the governments are doing. They are bailing them out. So really, I guess if you're a big enough company, you'd have to argue the fact that why not just stay in debt indefinitely, because if the going gets really tough, the government's going to come and help us anyway. So yeah, interesting. But so the measure of wealth, and there's a couple of ways you can measure wealth, but the best way that I like measuring wealth, and it's from Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, is that how many days forward can you survive if your income stopped tomorrow? So to me, that's an awesome way of thinking. So if you had no income tomorrow, you lost your job, lost your subsidy, lost your business, whatever, how many days forward can you survive and still pay the rent, pay your mortgage, all that kind of stuff? And so what you're trying to do, I guess in the long term, we're all trying to do this, is trying to have some kind of passive income where that passive income covers all your expenses so that you no longer need to work. And then basically you're infinite wealthy because you don't have to work anymore. And obviously depending on your outgoings will depend on when that is, but you can certainly try and arrange to have it so that that works. So for those of you out there thinking about maybe, are you prepared for maybe some tough times coming up or whatever, just think about that. Just how long can I survive if I stop my income right now? How long forward can I survive? And maybe make some plans or do some alterations to make that go out as far as you can. I believe you at least want 3 to 4 months, possibly even 6 months minimum, because that way if the worst should happen, be it job, be it health, be it whatever, you're not going to be completely broken, lose your house or whatever. So if you can arrange that so you have enough money to do that in whatever way, and obviously we can do that by cutting down on costs as well. But so just think about that. It's a good way of thinking long term as well. If that you want to retire early, or if you want to keep your lifestyle going without having to work, you need to get that passive income enough to pay for your expenses, so that technically you don't need to go to work, and that's if you don't want to. So that's a good way of looking at it. So yeah, how wealthy are you? How many days forward can you go without working? So that's a good way of looking at it. I want to talk a little bit about these riots in America and stuff, because to me that's pretty scary what's going on there, and I think it's a bit of a reflection that's around the world at the moment. We had protests in New Zealand about it. God knows why. I don't understand that at all. Well, I do understand it. I think it's just stupid. And it's just. But what's more concerning to me is the fact that if you do a politically correct protest like Black Lives Matter, to me that's a racist statement in itself. But if you do that, then the government leaves you alone. But if you don't do that, and if you're doing something else that breaks the rules, of course, then the government will come down on you really hard. So we had situation level 3 where we had the protest out there and everybody was not social distancing. And what happened? Nothing. There's absolutely nothing. Whereas if businesses had done that, or we decided to do a motor racing event here, or a friend of mine plays a guitar really well, I'll put it on your pool. No, well, kind of really well. No, he does. And he wanted to make a little concert of 300 or 400 people. He would have got shot down and arrested or whatever. But hey, if you want to do a protest and it's because it's Black Lives Matter and it seems to be such a great thing, then we just leave you alone. So to me, that's pretty bad stuff. Although I did hear an interesting thing in America. Just to go on top of that, they wanted to run a NASCAR event, or I think it was NASCAR, some kind of motor racing event. And so what they did was they opened it up. I think they had 2,000 or 3,000 or 5,000 people there, whatever it was, and they put a sign on a gate. This is not an event. This is a protest, official protest, and the government left them alone. So that's quite cool. But it does make you wonder, doesn't it? Really, when people go and do something that's protesting on something that happened on another country, the other side of the world, nothing to do with us, and they want to get in there and think that kind of racism. They're going to protest against racism, which is just ridiculous. I heard a thing today, actually, which is, again, this is where all this stuff's leading. You've got to be really careful, is that one of the high activists in this Black Lives Matter group and everything else are now saying that if you don't call yourself a racist if you're white, you've got to take those words away from your vocabulary, that every white person is at the core racist, which is just ridiculous. But that's where it's heading to. They want to punish everybody else for their misconceptions of what's happened in the now and in the past, and rather than holding themselves responsible for how they can make the world a better place. And then so we have these protesters going out in America. They go and start rioting and smash up places, and what do? They smash up and destroys all these row of shops that have black owners and black employees, and destroy their business. It's like, what are they thinking? I mean, it's just nuts. It really is. But of course, everybody's so politically correct, and they don't want to say anything about it because you might be called a racist. And then, of course, if you get called that, then you're going to get nailed on social media and all that kind of stuff. It's just got out of hand. It really has. So I'm hoping, that we come a day where all this nonsense stops, people start to see reason. We can have conversations about this stuff without people calling each other racist and getting all nasty and emotional and everything else. You need to be able to have conversations about all this kind of stuff. Nice, good debate, strong debate. And if you have good debate, you might hurt someone's feeling, whip your shit, you know, it's just the way it is. And if you are get hurt, or if you think that's rough, then you shouldn't be there. You need to grow up, basically. So anyway, that's my rant for the day. So it's good to be back, and we'll get some more videos coming out there shortly. Look, I'm also going to do another one shortly on Bitcoin, a bit more in depth, and more so on how to buy Bitcoin, because there's lots of people who are maybe a little bit interested in it and want to know how to buy Bitcoin. And it's really simple. You can do it in like a couple of minutes. And as I said, I reckon Bitcoin has a lot of potential, and I'll talk about that on the actual Bitcoin video, so we don't bore people here that don't give a crap about Bitcoin, which is fine. But I think in the next few years it could go really, really well. So until then, I hope everybody is doing really well, loving being back at work, being outside, doing all that kind of stuff, life as per normal as far as we know it. And I look forward to speaking to you all very shortly. Make sure you subscribe and like and share, and have a good evening. Alrighty, see ya.